Okay, so also the monks in return, gratitude, love, and maybe not respect, but mutual appreciation, we can call. And also Anumodana for the splendid offering of food and support, and especially the cake, the Kilesa cake. Did everybody get a piece? Yeah? Okay.
But you have to explain to them there's a Nibbana in there.
Yatha varivaha pura paripurenti sakarang evam eva ito tinnang petanang upakappati ichitang pathitang tumhang kippameva samicchatu sappe purentu sankappa chando pannaraso yatha manijotiraso yatha
Sappitiyo vivachantu
Sambharoga vinasatu mate bhavatvantarayo sukhiti gayuko bhava abhivadana silissa niccang vadhabhajayino chattaro dhamma vattandi ayuvanno sukhang palang bhavatu sappa mangalang Rakhantu sabba devata sabba buddha nupavena sada sotti bhavantu te bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba dhamma nupavena sada sotti bhavantu te Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba sanghanuphavena sada sotti bhavantu te.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let's bow 3 times. First bow. Second bow.
Okay, sit comfortably.
Before your Dhamma talk, can I share something?
Yeah, go ahead.
I have to check something on Monday. And of course, good morning everyone, all my brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Thank you for coming once again on behalf of the host, Brother Dhamma Jivadan. I'd like to welcome all of you here once again. And today, we know that we are happily gathered here to rejoice with Bhante, prestigious title of Mahathera. Okay, so with that, I'd like to show a little bit of a short snippets of montage that we have prepared for Bhante. And then later on, we will adjourn for a short Dhamma talk. Okay. Mahathera means, Maha means great. Thera means senior. Okay, so this is the 20th month of Ariyadhammika. together throughout the journey of Bhakti. This is Ananda Krishna's son. Oh, who is that? Pandita Dhamma.
This is also Paula.
Teachers are in SES Singapore. This is the rope. On Fatima Day, they have to sew the rope immediately on that day. Yeah.
And promoter also. Just earlier, Angeline mentioned 20 years already. And I think being a monk is almost the only occupation where we celebrate when we get older. Most people, when we get older, we don't want to tell anyone, we don't want to be young. But there are monks are the only ones who celebrate every year, another vasa, another vasa. Why is it? Because in our monastic training and discipline, where we honor and respect the elders. We acknowledge that those monks who are of long standing, who have been practicing the Dhamma for many years, that we can learn from them, that we can take them as our guides and as our supports. So in this way, we appreciate seniority. And I think also out in the world, also in family life, the same principle we can also see there, where the elders, parents, grandparents, they have more life experience. And we can learn from them if we make the effort, approach them, ask questions. But of course, if we ignore them and don't respect them, then also they don't care to tell us about life. Sometimes when I meet people who are close to death, maybe late 70s, 80s, close to 90, maybe having some sickness already, I like to engage them usually in a few questions because they have so much life experience. And one of the questions that they usually ask is, looking back at your life, what are the kind of things that you feel the most happy about? The things you did in your life that you feel the most proud, joyful, happy about? And almost never anyone says, oh, I have this amount on my bank account. You never had this kind of answer, or I have 3 houses, 5 cars. Never. But mostly, usually people will say something along the lines, I have a great family. I've done a good job raising my children. I feel really proud and happy about that. Or I was fortunate enough to live many years together with my spouse and learning from each other, supporting each other. And of course there can be difficulties, there can be periods where we struggle. It's not always easy, but it's often the human side where we have been supporting another person or children that give our life meaning, and where when we look back, we're quite happy having done it. So considering in this way, when people look back their own life, what do they really appreciate? It's often the connection, the relationships they had with each other, with their family, close friends. But then in real life, how much time are we really spending day to day cultivating those things? How many hours a day? Very little, isn't it? How many hours a day do we really spend, even with those whom we care for the most, our beloved ones? Sometimes we are fortunate, we see each other, or we have children, they are around. But then also children, they grow up gradually, isn't it? And then before you know, they become 16, 17, 18, they move out. That's it. And I'm sure they still can come for visits, but it's not the same as before. Not long ago, I saw statistics where they count the days that you have with your children in average, that the average parent spends with their children. And it turns out 90% of the time, of your whole lifetime, you together with your kids, 90% of that happens within the first 16, 17 years of your child. This is where you spend 90% of the time together. All the rest of your life, you will have a few moments here, a weekend there. It's very little actually in comparison. So for how long do we have the children? So as long as they're small. Later they will have a job, work to do, their own families. So it's quite important, I think, that we appreciate the time we have together, supporting each other, helping each other, and not taking that for granted. Or what are the kind of things do you think when we ask people, what do you regret when you look back your life at the end of your life? What do you regret the most? Again, nobody says, I didn't make enough money. Nobody says, I didn't go holiday this or that place. These are not the deep regrets that people have. So what do you think it might be? What do people often regret late in life? Not having had enough time for family. Not being there when the children needed me. Especially for men, sometimes we go to work, have a career, the business. Oh yeah, but then that time never comes back. Or when the parents get older, they would need our support. But then again, sometimes we're busy, we have things to do. And then sooner or later, parents will also move on, they will pass on. So yeah, well actually at that time, I didn't have time, I wasn't around. I didn't want to make time, it wasn't convenient. It's never convenient. So it's important that we know about it in advance. And we can learn it this way from the elders. What are the things that they are happy about? And what are the kind of things that they may regret? So that we don't make the same mistakes. That's why in our monastic discipline we value, we respect seniority. Because then we can learn from other people's life experience. We don't have to make the same mistakes as the previous generation has made. So that's why I hope also that the monks don't make the same mistakes as I have made. So I try to pass on some of the good things I've learned, some of the difficulties I've had, so that they don't have to make and undergo all through the same trouble. And so after a few years, you can see now some of our monks, Ayasma Ariyadhammika, having been in SPS for 5 years, they are themselves now middling monks, Majjhimas, and can stand on their own feet. And then we still have some babies here. On the side, that's my Upali, that's my Viraga. Not babies in the terms of physical sense. But then, of course, as a newly ordained monk, there's many things to learn. So like any occupation or profession that you learn, so it takes time. Just earlier we had this very nice cake there, the Kilesa cake, isn't it? And there was a lot of symbolism there. I think we've all noticed that first there was the cake, everything's sweet and so beautiful, but it has written Kilesa, defilements, on top of it. So it's a good reminder, whenever we indulge in sense pleasures, let us be careful not to feed. Yes, we should feed our body, that's okay, but let us not feed our defilements, our greed, attachment, desires. Because these are the kind of things where we might later have to pay a price. With price, I don't mean money. Price can be health-wise, if we always indulge in good, nice, tasty things, we might overeat. Well, often, probably you've noticed, the most tasty things are not always the most healthy ones. So in this way also, health-wise or overweight, so these are things, ways of paying a price. But then also the mental peace. In comparison, if you think about being at peace, at ease, meditating or being out in nature, it just feels nice, even without having anything special, without having a special cake, without needing a special food, special people around. Just imagine you can be peaceful and at ease just by yourself.
Wouldn't that be great? Not depending on anyone or anything. If I have this will make me happy. Or I have that. Or this person, maybe he or she can make me happy. No. You have all that it takes to be happy from inside. It's often we have too much. We have more than we need. Maybe some of the things that we have and that we indulge in might be actually obstacles rather than support for happiness. How much do you really need to be happy? I've lived for 5 years in Myanmar, in Burma, from 2005 to 2010. I think we all know Myanmar is quite a poor country. So the living standards are incomparable to here. So this is where I became a monk. But then when I looked around at the people there, the general population, sometimes they come to see us, we have a conversation, or also with other monks, they seem to be quite happy. It's almost like a miracle. In that misery, under these living conditions, how can you be so happy and joyful, smiling all day? Incomprehensible almost. Because if luxury or wealth, abundance would be the path to happiness, then these guys should feel miserable all day. But they do not. So it seems we overvalue, we overemphasize on the importance on these external circumstances. So the cake is a good reminder. Be careful, the kilesas are lurking there. But then you peel off the first layer, you burn off the kilesas, the first layer of paper. It would be nice if it would really be so easy, just bringing a lighter and then just burning them off like that. But through Dhamma practice, that can be done. Mindfulness, wisdom, concentration, composure. And this is like the peeling off of the first layer of the defilements. And the cake is still there. You don't have to throw away the whole cake. And then underneath, what remains is the purity, the mental purity, Nibbana. It's like symbolizing the purity of the mind that does not indulge in food just for the sake of enjoyment, but for the sake of nutrition. And often people think we all have to live maybe like monks and nuns and give up everything. Only then we can progress towards Nibbana. And then maybe renounce everything. But what the Buddha often said, it's not about the items. It's the relationship to those items that we have. It's the clinging, the craving towards them. This is the actual problem. Like here we have this bottle of water or even this bench. What is this actually? Huh? Table. A table. Okay. It's quite a nice table, could be quite practical. Anyway, not so nice. But okay, it has a utility. But then as I hold the table, it becomes quite heavy actually after a while. So there's some pain, some discomfort on account of holding a table like this. So what do I have to do to feel more pleasant? Put it down. So the more I put it down, the more pleasant it becomes. And if I let go completely, complete release from suffering. But you see, the table is still here. I don't have to push it away. Next time I want to use it, I can still use it. So you don't have to push away items, people. This is not the solution that the Buddha spoke about. It's the relationship to it. It's still here. But I don't have to cling to it and hold on to it and grasp it. So it's the grasping and clinging that is the problem. Not the objects, not other people, not the family. But if you cling a lot to each other and attach, then anything happens to Lawrence, I will suffer. But if we don't attach, then we can still have a good time together whenever we see each other, but then also we accept that we go separate ways at other times. So this would be a very mature way to live a relationship to our brothers, sisters, family, friends. That would be a mature way of doing that. It's not easy, but that would reduce suffering for everyone involved. So the cake was a wonderful reminder about the relationship between craving and suffering, and the lack of craving leading to liberation, to Nibbana. So everybody had a piece of cake? Really? It was not so large cake. Or did you manage all to get a piece of that?
One spoonful.
One spoonful. So then, taking that cake in future as a reminder, every time you have a very nice piece of food or clothing or whatever it is that you appreciate, remember, that thing won't make me happy forever. That happiness, yes, is there, but it's fleeting. And the true happiness is the happiness we cultivate inside, in our own hearts, through the cultivation of the mind, letting go, detachment, dispassion, renunciation. Looking back 20 years, I made many decisions in my life. Some good, some not so good. But that one decision to ordain and to become a monk was by far the best one. I never regretted that moment of deciding to become a monk. I'm not saying everyone should do it, but if you do have a chance, if it is in line with your nature, then it can be something useful. So again, sadhu everyone for coming out this morning. It was wonderful seeing all of you, old family, friends, Dhamma family of course, and wishing you also all the best on your own spiritual path, spiritual journey, so that it may continue and last for a long time and lead to great fruits like path, fruits, and nibbana. Sangha would also like to express our own appreciation by sharing of merit subsequently, or if there's any questions for now, we still have a few minutes. If any comments or questions you can ask either myself or directing to any one of our monks here, anything that comes to mind. We have a few minutes. I have a question then for Lawrence. What are you doing in March next year?
What's up? Quite free.
Quite free? Not anymore. We're planning our next jungle trip.
Sure.
And Lawrence is a very good organizer for taking the monks and also Pandyaga at times to the jungle, often in Sabah. Last time was, I think, 3 years ago that we had the journey together. And this year I was thinking this would be one option, that if there's a suitability and good occasion, you're free, we could consider maybe this year again coming to East Malaysia, Sabah, Maleo Basin was one of the nicest ones. So we could try this. It's a very deep jungle, deep forest, ancient trees there, some waterfalls. So it would be a wonderful experience for the Sangha of SPS to spend a couple of weeks there for our practice. So, yeah, 1 week only? Who of you wants to come along? No shower? No running water? Have to stay outside, under trees and so on? So who's coming? A lot of leech? Hot water, huh? No hot water. But for cooking, I guess I have a gas stove or something.
But it will be a great blessing if we could have the causes and conditions to go. It's not the other way around.
So yeah, when the causes and conditions are there, either in this life or in the next life, we can all join Lawrence taking us into the jungle. Okay, so we'll flesh out the details later, but if it works out this year, it would be a nice option. Okay, let us also share merit with our departed relatives and friends and all beings.